Just a second, I'm refreshing. I don't see it yet. Good. We're here. Okay, good morning.
Morning.
Excited and nervous. We're starting a series of few sessions today, bringing work in inquiry that we're doing for a while. Actually, we're doing this all our lives, but we dived into this together 2 years ago. I will read what I wrote in the post, bringing this series to Facebook, because I think it brings it the best. So much pain is entangled in the bond between men and women, alongside so much beauty. In fact, it seems like this bond steers us up like no other. In the past 2 years, we've been exploring the realm of men and women while writing our feelings, questions, and insights in a book called Oh Men. This inquiry came out of Ruthi after years of being a person, a woman, and a coach. At a certain point, her heart said, "It is time to ask, to share, to shake the boat, and to see what we see." This is not an academic conversation trying to crack the puzzle between men and women, but a loving, curious, and sharp encounter coming from an intimate life experiences of both of us, Ruthi and myself, and of more women, men, and couples that Ruthi has been coaching every day. Now, I want to say that sometimes when Ruthi and I work together, when we explore, when we coach each other, when we write, sometimes Ruthi says things that I find really hard to hear. Maybe it's our age differences, our life experiences, whatever. We're different people, and sometimes Ruthi, you say something, and I'm like, ugh. So I invite you, the listeners and viewers, to let it happen. When we say something, when Ruthi says something, when I say something, it's hard for you to hear. Let it do this to you, but keep listening, because we're here to see anew. We're here to shake the boat, and shaking the boat, sometimes you puke. Yeah, but later you feel better. And another thing I want to say, and this is coming like really from me working with you, Ruthi, for quite a while, I want to listen to you. I know that I want to listen from you because I trust where you're coming from. I trust your intentions. I trust your love. And I trust your genuine, super, super deep wish to increase the love in the world and to increase where we're coming from, the love that we are. Not to increase it, but to increase how much we're coming from there. So this is also something that is important to me to say, because we're diving into a realm that is really, really can be really uncomfortable and even provocative. And we want to give ourselves the permission to speak freely. And we want to give you the permission to listen freely without trying to draw conclusions. This is not a debate. And like I said, we're not trying to crack anything. We want to shake the boat because there's so much pain and so much confusions. And we just want to see. We want to see anew. These are new times. our conscious, like our collective consciousness is evolving. Yalla, we want to let ourselves the option to be refreshed. Did I start it good for you? You want to add something?
It was very nice. I would like to add that this book, we began to write this book while noticing that we put so much effort in the question of relationships. We try so hard. We look for ways to go about it. We feel so much pain. There is so much, we're keeping busy with relationships. And in a way, they don't become better. And the question of relationship becomes not only, it's not only that we occupy ourselves with it, but it's also that sometimes we despair, sometimes we lay low so that we can somehow manage to continue to be in a relationship. We shy a lot. We shy away from who we really are in order to keep a relationship going. Fear runs many relationships, even the fear of thinking I would not say something so that he or she would not be irritated,
Get hurt,
despair, anger. And what we were asking ourselves in the book is, what if we stop the effort and we listen? What if we hang our running shoes on the wall for a while and see how it looks from there? What is happening to us when we stop this continuous struggle? What happens or what becomes possible for others while we do that? And also, we were concerned with the truth. What could you really see that's really there once you stop hoping or mourning whatever is there or not? Just really look. So that's why we call the book "Oh Men," the book of hope, because it is a gate. It's not the final word.
Yeah. My working title for the book within myself is "Oh Men, Crossing the Tunnel of Love." Mm-hmm. Because it's what I feel like when we work.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do in this series of sessions, we don't know how many sessions this series will be, but we know that this is the first. We will go with the book. The book is not published yet, but it has a certain development. So we will use the book as some sort of guidance to to the way we walk. And we will start today with a pretty easy question, or is it? But a question we've been asking ourselves, I think, everyone, for many years. And is there a different, how did I write it? Is there something we don't see? Or maybe we see, but don't want to acknowledge? Is there a fundamental difference between men and women? Now, maybe it's time to add that the book is right. The name of the book is "Oh Men," is because we're women, and we're writing the book from our life experience. And like you said, sometimes we feel there's so much effort, And oh man, yeah. So this is also important to notice that this is where we're coming from. And we let this somehow despair and tiredness to also be our teacher, like you said about the effort. Okay. So when we started asking ourselves, is there a fundamental difference between men and women? We came out with looking at how we perceive reality, because we live in reality. We're human, and that's what it is. So Ruthi, I'm looking at the document. I can't see you, so just if you want to stop me, make a sound, okay?
Okay.
So I will read 3 paragraphs that we wrote from the book. There are 2 dimensions which are one, a whole. Both of them together create our life experience, the experience of our reality. One dimension is the spirit, is the nature of everything. It's a mystery that is beyond our understanding and probably will always be. And we cannot define, we cannot explain, and we cannot comprehend with our minds and our 5 senses. The other dimension is the expression of this mystery in the material world. In this material world, the mystery or the spirit does have shape. It does have a form and features and circumstances and context, but all of these are just a constant changing expression of the mystery that is me and you and everything. One can experience this mystery in 2 ways, like this, what I just described, in 2 ways. And these 2 ways are fundamentally different. And the way they function in our life and the way they affect our life is fundamentally different. One way to perceive all of this, we will call these 2 ways FM and AM. So the FM lives while remembering this whole, which is 2 dimensions, and simultaneously see everything as a mysterious, constantly changing motion, which is one with everything. Therefore, everything in their reality, a person that is experiencing life through the FM, the spirit and the wisdom of this mystery is expressing itself in everything they do. They remember that everything is, first of all, this. And the material world is an expression of this. The AM will only capture and take in account the material dimension, which is visible to the eyes and 5 senses and understandable to the mind. For the AM person, the spirit and the mystery is an inspiring idea, a beautiful idea. This is like, yeah, wow. But it's not really something that you live by. Yeah, it's not really something you take in account. And therefore, the AM person will experience life as an individual, as a shape, as something in the world of some things that they get along or they don't get along. They can fit, they can not fit, they can be apart, they can bond, but the fundamental experience and the way they live in the world is a separation, a sensation and experience of separation. So this is what we start with today. It's a lot, and I would like us to take it from here in this session, talking about the AM and the FM, and yeah.
So I think maybe a good point to start is, a good place to start is that these are different frequencies. That's why we chose AM and FM, because AM and FM exist in different realms. They are both in the world, but you cannot perceive the AM while you're looking from the FM.
The other way around.
No.
Oh,
Both.
wait.
Yeah. I think it becomes more and more clear that both. And also you cannot perceive the FM while you're in the AM.
So you say you're either here or either there. And when you are, you cannot capture the other.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same. It's not symmetrical, but it goes like that. As you started to describe, and the book goes much deeper and wider into not only examples, but specifications of how this AM works. What does it mean living your life out of AM, okay, or FM? But the frequency that looks at ourselves or perceives ourselves as a thing, as something finite that has a beginning and an end, that has certain qualities, but it is actually a box. It can be a very inspiring box. It can be with much abundance, but it is a box, meaning it is a thing and it has an end, it has a limit. And also, this thing can move around in the world. It can, as you said, it can join other people. It can belong to communities of other boxes, but it still is a thing.
What it is.
Yeah.
More or less.
So it can be flexible. It can sometimes compromise. It can sometimes be very generous. But it is this thing that does that. The book goes much deeper into that, as I said before, but actually, if we look at it, it's obvious why fear and violence comes into the picture. Because if I believe that I am a thing, and then in the board meeting, there's a guy challenging me, challenging the way I see things, challenging the ideas that I presented in the session, then immediately I perceive him as a threat, because this thing that I am, I must guard it. I must make sure that nothing bad happens to it. And I must make sure that it evolves in a way, the things evolve in a way that at least make it possible for me to keep my value and not lose it. And preferably, it would add. I would become more important. I would become more secure. More people would need me. So I would
be more valuable.
More valuable, and they won't go against me because they need me. So I would create dependency. I would create conditionality so that I have the power to make sure that nothing bad happens to me, that the rules of the game don't change so that it goes to the wrong direction concerning my wishes, my habits, my fears. And the other, and that's what you said about separation as a point of origin, separation leads us to see the other as either a threat or useless or an opportunity. But it makes the whole world I look at the world as utilitarian. I mean, I look at it and I ask, what do I get out of it? This thing that I am, I'm talking about the AM, this thing that I am, nothing really happens to it in the sense that it doesn't change. It does not transform. It is this thing, again, flexible. I would do different things in different points of my life, different phases, because my needs change, my perspective changes, I understand
My
better.
desires change.
Desires change, but this thing is as it is, and it should be. The AM says what was should continue, so that anything that doesn't comply becomes either useless or a threat, and anything that does comply or that does fit becomes something to use. That's an important thing, which I'll touch a bit more, because in the book, and that was one of the things that as human beings and as women, we had a really difficult time to come to terms with, or to allow ourselves to see, and also allow ourselves to see without immediately jumping into conclusions, is that the main thing that separation does is that when I acknowledge that that's where many men come from because they perceive themselves as AM, might say that they never were with me as I believed they were. They are with me, they can be very charming, they can be very generous, they can really enjoy giving me what I love or seeing me enjoying myself, as long as it enhances their needs and their wishes and their way of perceiving themselves. Yeah? And the minute it becomes something else, it either creates something different than what they know and understand, or even challenges what they know and understand and perceive themselves. When they are asked to be other than what they knew themselves to be up till now, that threatens them in a way that women have difficulty even realizing how much, because for them, in a way, it's a question of life and death. Because if you believe, mistakenly, of course, that you are a thing, that you are a box, as large as you may be, as full of richness it may be, the minute you're asked to step out of it or to do something that doesn't exist already in the box, it looks as if now you're going to be shamed. Everyone is going to see that you're not good enough or insufficient.
Because you're entering a realm of uncertainty for you. Like
it's even more extreme. You're entering
helpless. You don't know what to do, and you don't know who you are because you're not
up
in
till now. You might have even not known that it existed
at all.
So, and when I'll talk about FM in a minute, but when you know that what you know about yourself is just a hint, it's just like a poem written on you that you might have written or others, but it's inviting you, it's calling you to reveal yourself, to be revealed to yourself by saying yes, then you know that there's much more there waiting to be seen, and much more that you can rely on, that you're really taken care of in a very fundamental way. For men, since they perceive themselves as separated and as these things that they mistakenly believe them to be, then when you're asked to step out of this place, they feel as if you're taking them into an abyss, because it's like you're taking them into death. You're taking them into a place that would either present misery, great misery, or death. Okay, because they can't perceive that. And they perceive themselves to be a thing.
Can we give a little example? A little one from daily life.
Yeah. A woman sits with a man in a restaurant. He's her husband, and they're going to celebrate the 13th birthday of their son. He's not even their oldest son, and they've been through things like that, decisions, many decisions before. And she wants to suggest that since his family is very religious, that they would this time make it possible for people whom are very religious to sit in a certain place, celebrating and seeing everything. And other people which want to be together, because in ultra-religious Jews, they separate between men and women. So she said, let's think maybe this time we want to do it differently. And what happens is that he immediately perceives it as if she says, your family is primitive. I think that I've had enough. You did not speak up to them the way you should have spoken to them. And that's why I rocked the boat. Okay, while she was thinking, we went to celebrate our anniversary in an Indian restaurant. We're having a good time. It's a really good time to open up a new possibility that I know that we both would like to at least consider. And if he says no, then it's okay. I see that it's very important for him. And it's no big deal. We'll find another way to do whatever I really wish to do. Maybe in another day, maybe with the children alone, it's possible. That's the example. So, and immediately it becomes a fight. And she says to me, I'm sitting there and I just cannot believe that this is happening. It's like, I don't understand where he's coming from, what was running in his head. And I'm telling you, he's a really nice guy. I know him and I love him very much. What's running in his head? What's the movie? Where does it take? What's the scenario? What's the end of this? It's absolutely like two universes, parallel universes that don't meet. But they do meet and they hurt and they're frustrated and it's like the question that we were looking a lot in the book at was, why do we say so many times, it's unimaginable what's happening here? How can that be?
Believe
exactly. I can't believe that this is
can't
happening.
believe you said that.
But
well,
you can.
Believe it, baby. Because he said that.
You can, because it's happening again and again. But still, not only speaking from humor, I'm saying that the question of I don't believe that it's happening is coming from where she came from, sitting in this great Indian restaurant, eating the food that they love in a really beautiful hotel, celebrating the fact that they have many children together and they're it's
sharing
good.
Life, yeah,
they're sharing life. It's much to be blessed, much to bless, and yet in a minute it becomes a fight. Okay, so that's what I mean. Frequencies, it's like parallel universes that don't meet. Okay, so she can come from the best intentions. What he's hearing is that the minute she asks to look from a place that he doesn't perceive or that doesn't match his vocabulary of thoughts or words, it becomes intimidating, it becomes a threat, and it becomes something that he needs to defend himself from. He can do it more civilly, more, looks like caring, But actually it's separation, fear, and pushing away. Okay, so that's one of the major things that happen. And also men, we experience that. They don't get many times what they're doing when they come to coach with me, when they come to, speak to therapists about that. They say, I don't understand. I come from the best intentions and it blows up every time. It's like a hand grenade waiting to explode. And it does explode. And I don't see what I did because I came from a place also of wanting. I made the reservation in the restaurant. Really, it's a true story. I made the reservations. I thought of something that would really surprise her. We were at last alone. And then she does that and immediately we fight. Why did she have to bring this up? Why couldn't we stay in the calm lake of the restaurant and not speak of anything else? And I think, really, I'm not smiling when I'm saying this because I feel the tremendous pain that couples carry and the tremendous pain that we as women experience and as men experience. And again, the thing is, how does it happen every time? Why does it happen every time when there are the best intentions? Because I'm not talking of people who come to harm other people or to really use in a cynical, close-hearted way.
Yeah.
But people with good intentions. So that's the AM. And again, it's important to say the AM is not what men are. We have questions there in the book which are not answered, but their soul is absolutely not AM. The soul is a soul. It is love. It is life-giving. It is infinite. It is light. And men and women alike have one soul. It's all one soul, and we all have the same soul.
We're all the different expressions of this one.
It's not only right, it's different, but the way that men are today and for a very long time, we've been asking in the book whether there is something in their DNA or something in their charisma, spiritual charisma, that they have to be that way in order for the world to exist and to flourish, and more importantly, for the revelation to keep on happening.
Again, where is the spiritual wisdom and the things as they are? That's why I said we're not trying to crack anything or fix anything. We want to really inquire, and from a very intimate and personal inquiring, not from the outside as if it's possible, but yeah.
So if I talk a bit about the FM, then the FM is actually first of all, is the truth, meaning it's the way that we are before we become personalities or before we start believing that we are the I that we believe that we are, okay? The thing, the personality, the characteristics of this one person. So the FM is infinite in the sense that everything is one here and everything is light, life, energy of life. So every shape that there is, every what we call thing that there is actually a manifestation of this one, and also a reminder, or more accurately, we might say it gives testimony to the one. Okay, by seeing this, I can see a child and say that it is beautiful and that I love him very much and that I'm very happy that I have a child that is who he or she is. But it's not the same as looking at them. And then, as my mother said to me before I gave birth to my oldest son, She said, you are going to feel, you're about to feel the kind of happiness that you never knew. And it would be so strong and so filling and so in such abundance, like an ongoing and eternal fountain, that you would not be able to hold it in your body. It would be so awesome and so beautiful. And I remember that only by seeing her speaking to me about that, I could see, I could feel this realm that was not known by me before. And I couldn't even imagine that such a dimension existed. And it did. So this FM is aware of this dimension, looking at these phenomena that are in the matter, yeah, like a child in a body with a smile, with a name. Yeah? If you look at him or her acknowledging this miracle that is happening here, this beauty that is beyond words that exists here, then you can also see you can see anew everything. It cannot be anymore matter that is not vibrant and that is not life-giving to you as you look at it, not because you love him, not because he's cute and great. Yeah, not because he's
not because it makes you happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a bit like experience of psychedelic drugs. What people describe when they take when they do shamanic ceremonies, or I never did chemical drugs, but they many people is there, but the door is closed. And once you see it, once you, like you said, just by talking about it, it was revealed to me. And of course, when I'm sure when you actually became a mother, it's like it was always there, but until you opened this door, you didn't know it's there. Yeah. You never acknowledged it.
Right. The difference, though, it's a good comparison or
comment.
Yeah, it's good noticing this. The difference is that what we called for in the book was to allow ourselves to experience this without any help of anything that enhances the experience. Yeah. But not only that, but during those painful times when you feel very lonely in a relationship, or you say it's unbelievable, I cannot believe that this is happening. And it is not, we're not talking about something that happened twice or three times. We're talking about something that's happening more and more, and not only again and again, but also becoming worse, because when you get disappointed once or twice, you can get over it. But when you get disappointed for the 15th time or 50th time, or when you tried everything and you still feel so lonely and unseen, then it becomes heavier and more intricate and complicated. And then from there also more pain, more anger, and even despair. So when we look at the FM, what it does actually, what FM is this infinite or infinity that once acknowledged, once we realize that we're not a thing, then we can also shed from ourselves, like taking off a coat or a scarf. You can, once noticing that it was just your imagination, you've created the world by your thoughts, And these are not the truth. This is not how it really is. And you let it go in the sense that you no longer think that you're covered by it. Then you immediately see anew. It's not now you're looking and you're concluding and you're reading the situation anew. It becomes new. It's like, like someone took your glasses off and you haven't noticed that you were looking through red glass, and suddenly a whole world opened up. It's much more than that, but it's so the FM that is not afraid, for example, from edges, because once I reach an edge, the question that rises in me is, let's make the step that's beyond the edge and see what happens. Because I know that I don't end there. The world doesn't end there. Love doesn't end there. I've just reached this place, this edge, that is the border or the furthest point of who I thought I was.
Yeah, and for the AM, this would be simply an act of suicide. Exactly. Like taking this metaphor. And it reminds me of the tarot card, the Fool, that is about to take over a cliff, and we don't know we don't see what's under the cliff. Maybe it's just a step. Maybe it's deep and he will die, but he doesn't care because he's the Fool, full of God, full of love, the Fool. And I wanted to ask you, because we talk about the AM and FM, and we all also live in the AM. Mistakenly thinking that that's all there is. This is when we get tangled and lost in the world of thoughts, and we're entering mind loops, and we forget that hey, there's more than my thoughts. And I wanted to ask you if you can say something about this moment of making like the extra step after the edge, or what you think is the edge, between men and women. So, because I know many women, and this is sometimes where in our conversations, I'm like, wait, Ruthi, but women do it too. Mm-hmm. Women are also very fixed, can be, like people are fixed on their character. They are fixed on their box. And so do you know, or can you think of an example that a man would actually be more comfortable, I'd say, or more in peace with doing this step than his partner, or than a woman? Not in a way that it's a competition, but did you meet men that can do it?
First of all, I'll go to the basics for a moment before answering this, because it might be perceived not as I intended to be.
Okay.
We did not, in the book, come to make scientific conclusions. Okay? What we said was, and what I think anyone can ever say, is, to the best of our understanding, this is what we see as a phenomenon. And when we try, I've coached thousands of people. I've been working with this for a very long time. You also with your soul player, so you engaged immediately, deep and very wisely, that the phenomena as it occurs, as we said before, to see how many times men feel as if they just don't get what happened, and why does it happen like that, and why does he love her and then she becomes like such an intimidation or such an interruption, and that he cannot rest and be comfortable next to her, and that he's feeling judged all the time, and that he cannot hear anymore another time that someone says to him or that she says to him, you need to change or you need to be. There's a lot of suffering there. And we try to understand why women come with the best intentions or just don't get what's happening. So this is this book. It is not a conclusion. It is, we're offering a place to look from, a filter to understand through, and something that would, we believe, would put things in suddenly in their right place, not because we put them, but because, you know, it's, if you drive and you look in the mirror instead of at the window, the shield, then you cannot see why you're bumping into things and why your car looks as it does. You know, but that's how we do, that's what we do. That's how we are in life. We look at things through our thoughts coming from the past instead of wiping the window and allowing ourselves to see clear. So this book, this is what it intends to do. It intends to like wipe the window, you know, give ourselves a bit of time, let ourselves mourn, because there are things that wouldn't be. And then from there, ask ourselves, so what do we see from now? What do we see now? What opens up? What are the things that are calling us, and so on? So about your question. So first of all, what we found when we were looking and learning and reading and interviewing people and coaching them is that
oh my God.
What happened?
This is the doorbell. This is Amazon or something. It's not for me though. Okay. Oh, it's so loud. I'm sorry. Sorry, everyone. Yes.
So when someone is very attached to their character, to the way that they see things, to them being right, to the thought that other people come to challenge them and it's not good for them. Yeah, these are thoughts that women and men have. Okay, these are not only thoughts that men have.
Yeah, for sure.
The difference is that it's utterly different when it happens and the background or it's like, I see it as a wooden beautiful dish. I don't know why, but it's like where everything happens. If that is something that is AM, finite and in danger, or whether I think that when my inner knowledge is very alive, to the sense that even though I thought that my period would look the same as it did last month, it didn't. Okay, and when I thought I'm self-composed and responsible, when I was going through my period this time, and I was supposed to present to the board the new project that we are very interested in making them interested in, And I was like all over the place. I couldn't get one thought right. Okay. Then after these happen, I cannot perceive myself again as something very hermetically closed and very, set and fixed. I know that I am not what I think I am. Okay, so as much as I try to do that, it wouldn't work. Taking it to another level, if I am used to think that people just can create a good connection with me, and I walk in the world believing that. But after a few relationships that I had, I stop and I say, well, it cannot be, because something is wrong here. Because it cannot be that one after the other, no one can really understand me or see me for what I am. Then if I'm AM, I would say either something is wrong with me, I'm fucked up, or I would say people are just impossible.
The world is fucked up, yeah. People are stupid.
But if I'm coming from FM, then I might say the same words, and I can also even the same number of times until I say, well, I don't get what's happening here. But then I would say, so what am I not seeing? Okay, the FM would say, where am I looking from, or where is my entry point to a relationship that makes it go sour again and again? Okay,
that is the extra step, actually. If
it's not the extra step, is where I'm going to in order to look from. Okay, men or AM, they don't have any outside. Okay, it's like there's that, and that's all there is.
Where
so if I'm not,
where am I going to look from?
Yeah, but making it simple because it sounds complicated. If I'm a man or if I'm AM, and I tried everything to make this relationship work because she's really, I care for her and I want to be with her. I tried everything, but it doesn't work. I would end up thinking then, okay, so either something is fundamentally wrong with me or fundamentally wrong with her or with women or with the world.
With us. Something is not working here.
Yeah, but if you were grown up, then you know that it's not only here. That sometimes she left you and sometimes you left her, sometimes he left you and sometimes, but you can see a pattern. When you stop, the way I said now, is when you see that there is a vicious circle that you don't seem to get out of, okay? And that is a place, it's a good example to see how AM sees this, experiences this, and then also acts upon it, and what happens when FM does.
So AM will stop, will try everything, find solutions, they will not work, and then they will probably leave, right? They will say, okay, this is not working.
Or compromise.
Yeah,
they would say, I won't find anyone else because I tried and it doesn't work. So obviously there is nothing more than that. So I either compromise, and I need to understand this is a relationship. This is what it means to be grown up. So, okay, so I need to deal with it.
Yeah, and
so
then you
or compromise.
And then you start suppressing things and suffer because you live your life thinking that you're compromising. Or the other option, this is also very AM, like either or. Yeah. So, or I will leave. And how will the AM approach?
So the AM knows that she has reached
FM.
The FM knows that she has reached the edge of what she knows. Okay, the way she understood herself up till now, the way she understood the world up till now, but she would know that if I come to her, I as a friend, not as a coach, I would come to her and say, so let's look at things. She would know that there is a lot to look at, not to analyze, but to look at, because she would know that the reality that she's experiencing time after time is being created by herself and the way she sees the world. Okay, and that's a lot of the book is about that. It's about how, as women, we perceive the world in a way that causes us suffering and pain and disappointment and deep feeling of loneliness and alienation without us knowing this. We think we're striving for the best. Yeah. And yet we find ourselves so many times entangled into the world that we create for ourselves and then feeling pain and fear and so on.
Yeah. And you're saying, we need to finish up, but I'll just repeat something because I think it's really, really good and on the point, and maybe we can continue next week from here. You said not analyzing, looking at, we know that there's something to work here, there's something to see here. So not analyzing, but looking. And when I'm looking at something, immediately there's the observer and there's the thing that I'm looking at. And what we're used to do is focusing on what we're looking at. This is analyzing. Oh, what is here? Let's work with this. Let's figure this out. But what you're saying, the FM, is actually focusing on the observer. And then the wisdom, the whatever, is working differently.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we focus on being the observer and not be so busy with the content, the story, the thoughts, the opinions, what he said and what she said, and how is it right or wrong, or just, but kind of immediately when I say this, I feel that when you go there to the observer, you immediately relax. Something in you immediately is more relaxed.
Right. And it's not going to the observer. I'll just add, it's beautiful. Going to the observer is not going out of the situation.
Exactly.
It's not creating separation or distance. It is actually exactly the opposite. It is, instead of thinking that I am a player in a game that was set by someone else, I immediately can see that the reality that I'm living is being created moment by moment by me. But I am not the player. I am the creator. I am the person whom, by the way that they look, perceive, and act, they create their reality. Good.
Good. Okay, next week we'll take it from here. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I tell everyone again that if you want to comment and ask and bring up examples and anything actually that you would like to share, good or bad, really, really feel welcome. This is a joint breathing lab. So please feel very invited to take part. And thank you for now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.